Hello, everyone. Why I get out of the shower and I always get this little wet spot right here. Apparently, I don't like to dry this part of my neck, chest. Okay. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Hi. Welcome back. I'm Kris. If you saw part one, you know I was filming this at like 3 something in the morning. It is currently the same day. It's 3:57 p.m. It's been a long ass day. It was an easy day, long ass day. Long ask day. So, we're going to do part 2. I got to get a drink. The van that I use doesn't have air. The work van. It's lovely. It's like 92, 85% humidity. Yeah. Yeah, you pretty much want a car accident. Anything that'll just kill you. It's not fun. Oh. Still awake. I'm doing it. I'm going to record a couple of videos and then I'm ready for bed. All right. We already saw part 1. I think it was at 1928. I think I went back a little bit because for some reason I lost the page and I came back to it. I don't know. I don't know what I did. Okay, I'm a sweet boy. Sometimes I'm stupid. I can't help it. But if you could click on that thumbs up, subscribe. There's a thanks button. There's a hype button. What's this? Click on that. Ask me a question. It doesn't come to me. Click on this and do more actions. I don't know. Do something. Just sitting there staring at me. You pervert. All right. I'm tired. I'm tired. All right. Let's get into this one. Another 19 minutes long.
Guard of honor! Slope up!
Of riches beyond imagination, of new frontiers that stretched way beyond the shores of tiny England.
Did it just somehow jump backwards? It did. Okay.
Slope up!
The Queen's Navy had become a source of national pride as never before, and there was an insatiable demand for stories of seafaring adventure and discovery. A new national identity, aggressive, ambitious, and Protestant, was in the making. If Hawkins was the architect of that new identity and Drake its firebrand, then Richard Hakluyt was its biographer. In 1589, the year after the Spanish Armada, he wrote this.
I was really digging the music. I'm upset they stopped.
The principal navigations, voyages, traffics, and discoveries of the English nation.
What? The second word of the what is that supposed to be volume? The second volume? Okay, yeah, the V is a U. Okay. The V is also a V. Man, they really like to annoy people. Where was I? Right here. What did he say that was? Oh, they spoke English back in those days. They spoke a lot of English. Yeah. Who is texting me? Sorry. Work. Okay, I want to make sure I heard what he said. I don't know if he was speaking English. English.
Navigations, voyages, traffics, and discoveries.
Discoveries. Sorry, work. Discoveries. Oh, yeah, okay. This has gotten me before because like I know the S looks like that, but sometimes in the middle of words the F looks like the S looks like an F. How is that discoveries? And there's no V there. I'm complaining about old school English, so I'm tired. I'm tired. Man, if we went back in time, and when I say we, I mean me, but I'm linking you in this, we would really look stupid. See, I'm making you feel like you'd be stupid too, because I don't want to be the only one. You guys would be like, no, we totally get, we studied this our whole lives. Yeah? Well, your feet probably stink. So now what?
Of the English nation.
That's all I had. I'm sorry. South. That's got to be east.
Account of 1,600 years of history containing over 250 seafaring adventures by Englishmen. A mix of storytelling and myth-making. Here at the back of this one, for example, we have Hawkins's ill-fated trip to the Caribbean.
They did write beautifully. Well, this wasn't written. This was, like a printing press. Did they have a printing press in the 1500s? I have no idea. We're just going to say they did. Otherwise, to write that, if somebody actually hand wrote that, they did an amazing job, but it had to have been a printing press. I'm sure they had one, right? They had it in a printing press before Jesus was around. I'm sure it's been there for a while.
With Miles Phillips' gruesome account of the barbarous treatment they received at the hands of the Spaniards. Here in the next volume, we have the account of the defeat of the Spanish Armada itself, which ends with this incredible paragraph that says, "Thus the magnificent, huge, and mighty fleet of the Spaniards in the year 1588 vanished into smoke." This was history with a purpose, a call to arms to a nation on the verge of a new destiny. That destiny could not have been made more obvious than it was in a subsequent edition of Hakluyt's work, which contained this stunning map. Now, this piece of paper is 400 years old. It's incredibly beautiful. Just look at the detail of the world's coastlines and ports and rivers.
That's amazing. Wow. Whoever did that. Wow. That's beautiful. For what it is, that's beautiful. Wow. That is so cool. I wonder how many people get to actually see that, if it's like on display or something like that, because that's so cool. And I'm guessing these must be like their lines of like, oh, from here to here, it could be X amount of, well, from here to here, and then, you know, that's your straight line, and then, I don't know what that is. I was trying to think it's like some sort of a distance finder. Distance finder? Is that a correct word? I'm tired. I don't know. That's so cool, though. Can I have it? No, seriously, can I have it, please? I said please. Somebody figure out how I can just get a copy. You know what I mean? I'll take the original, just leave the copy.
What's so remarkable about this map is that medieval maps show England as an insignificant island clinging to the edge of Europe. But now England's not at the edge. It's been picked up and moved right to the heart of the world. It's an image of the world we all recognise, but this map showed it for the first time. It was a potent symbol of a nation that now had global ambitions. ships poured out of England, bound for the Americas, Africa, Asia, and the Baltic. Numerous and aggressive, these English pioneers steadily eroded Spanish power and
All right, sorry, I had to turn down the brightness on the lights. It was affecting everything.
founded the colonies that formed the beginnings of Britain's future empire. Abroad and at home, business was booming. Ports like East Looe and Cornwall now had scores of fishing boats trading as far away as North America. In these new, confident times, they called themselves the Western Adventurers. But economic success brought a new threat that no one had foreseen. Suddenly, whole fleets, 10 or 12 ships, would head out to sea and simply vanish. There are reports of ships found floating out there in the Atlantic without their crews, who were never seen again. On one night in the summer of 1631, in the village of Baltimore in Southern Ireland, over 100 people were removed from their beds, leaving the place a ghost town. A remarkable letter, written in August 1625, reveals the scale and horror of the problem. It's from the Mayor of Plymouth, Thomas Seeley, to the King's Council. One poor maritime town in Cornwall called Looe hath within 10 days lost 80 mariners bound in fishing voyages to the deeps, and there have been taken by the Turks. Back then, Turks meant Muslims, and these were in fact pirates from North Africa, Barbary pirates. They came to these shores.
So they've been at it for a while then. Or were they new to it then? Because I know we had the Barbary War in like the 1800s. Damn.
And took people as slaves back to North Africa. It was a barbarous practice, but it was, of course, what these West Countrymen have been doing to Africans for decades now. Even so, it turned the sea here from a source of wealth and prestige for England into a place of terror and slavery. The ports and fishing villages, it said, were filled with the pitiful lamentations of the victims' families. In the next few years, Devon and Cornwall would lose a fifth of their shipping and crews. This extraordinary and little-known episode in English history was to have far-reaching consequences. Englishmen were bred on the myth of maritime invincibility, but now they had to face hard truths. Once the predators, they were now the prey, and people did what they usually did in a crisis. They blamed the government, and they weren't entirely wrong.
Fishing vessel Trevose, fishing vessel Trevose. This is protection vessel Tyne, calling you channel 160.
I'm on one of the modern Navy's fishery protection vessels, about 30 miles from Cornwall. Just the territory where the Barbary pirates were seizing English shipping.
Trevose, this is Tyne. It's my intention to send a routine boarding team over to you. My team will be with you in 20 minutes, over.
In Elizabeth's time, the Queen's ships and the private vessels of freebooters like Drake had kept these waters safe. But the Queen was now dead. The new Stuart regime had made peace with Spain, and the Navy had been cut back. With a predilection for self-aggrandizement, the regime had spent its cash, some of it raised illegally by notorious ship money, on a few grand vanity ships designed to impress the kings of Europe. Trouble was, fishery protection wasn't the kind of job that these showy vessels were designed to do. Just as the job that these guys do couldn't be done by an aircraft carrier. In the absence of this kind of protection, the king's subjects, particularly down here in the West Country, were completely vulnerable. They and their cargoes made irresistible targets for North African pirates. Shocked by the magnitude of the crisis, West Country MP Sir John Eliot wrote to the King's Council begging for action. But the government did nothing. Eliot was furious. And he wasn't the only one. Anger also oozes from the pages of this, a bestseller written around the time of the disappearances from East Loo. It's called Sir Francis Drake Revived. It's written by Drake's nephew, and he recounts the glories and successes of what now seemed like a vanished age. It's an indictment on the present with its all-pervasive sense of fear and its insecurity. But it's also a call to arms, as the author makes very clear on the title page. He writes, calling upon this dull or effeminate age to follow his noble steps for gold and silver. Sir John Eliot caught the mood, calling for a return to the aggressive policies of the past. England's new king, it seemed, was listening. Charles I had been on the throne for just a few months, and like a modern leader seeking crowd-pleasing policies in troubled times, he funded an expedition to attack Spain. It set sail from Plymouth in October 1625, waved off by a delighted John Eliot. Their target was none other than Cadiz. Their mission, a Drake-style smash and grab, returning home with holds full of treasure to public acclaim. But it didn't work out that way at all. The expedition was commanded by Viscount Wimbledon, a man who'd never served at sea before, and was so indecisive, his men quickly gave him the nickname Viscount Sit Still. Confusion reigned, ships collided and masts and rigging tumbled overboard. When Sit Still ordered his captains to attack, many of them simply ignored him. The lack of an experienced, charismatic commander like Drake exposed terrible weaknesses in the English fleet. Even with Drake in charge, it had been hard enough to impose order. Now, many captains simply did as they wished. They were a rabble. The chaos continued when they landed 2,000 troops on the beach, but failed to give them any water. The weather was scorching. When they finally got into the town, these thirsty Englishmen stumbled on a warehouse. It was full of wine. All hell broke loose. The men started drinking, and although the officers tried to stop them, it was no use. The whole army was drunken, wrote one eyewitness, and in one common confusion, some shooting at one another amongst themselves. This wouldn't, of course, be the last time the drunken English have behaved disgracefully while abroad, but on this occasion, with the expedition descending into total farce, the commanders had no choice but to call it off.
You know, this happened during the Revolutionary War, the Civil War. I don't know what it is about soldiers just finding alcohol and then just drinking it. Like, I mean, they did some, well, I don't know about the British necessarily, but I know that the Americans used to put people through a firing squad. They would hang people. I just don't get the lack of discipline. Was there a punishment system I mean, and for everybody? Was there some sort of a punishment system, like lashing or something? You would think, oh, there's alcohol. I better not. Now, if you're captain or your general or your admiral, that's the word, gives it to you, completely different. You just coming upon it and just everybody getting drunk, like I would not. No. There's got to be some punishment on that one.
On the way home, farce turned to tragedy as disease took hold. By the time they reached Plymouth, hundreds were dead and hundreds more were dying. And who was standing up here waiting for them? None other than Sir John Eliot. The man who in October had waved them off with such high hopes now stood on a miserable day just before Christmas 1625 as the fleet limped in. "The miseries before us are great," he wrote, as he watched corpses being tossed into the harbour from the ships, and later he saw sailors drop down dead in the streets of Plymouth. But soon his compassion for the sailors turned into another emotion: rage. News of the fiasco soon reached London, and when Parliament convened, John Eliot was on his feet, his anger echoing around St. Stephen's Hall. Our honour...
Did they say what the sickness was that killed all the people? Because I don't remember hearing it. Only thing I could think of was like, maybe smallpox. You're out to, I don't know if there's any scurvy. I don't know any like seaborne illnesses. Of course, they were on land, so they probably could have caught something. I don't know. If I missed it, put it in the comments.
Is ruined. Our ships are sunk, our men are killed, not by the sword nor by the hand of an enemy, but by those we trust. Those words, spoken by Eliot in this chamber where the House of Commons used to meet, were the sharpest denunciation of royal government ever heard in Parliament. Cadiz, Eliot said, proved that the king was unfit to run the navy. In a series of extraordinary speeches in here, Eliot demanded that Parliament take a greater role in overseeing the affairs of state. When the Speaker, who sat in his chair on this spot, tried to shut him up, Eliot hired 3 thugs to hold him down. If it seemed like revolution was in the air, it was. The king's failure to run a modern, efficient navy had sparked a constitutional crisis. John Eliot was thrown into the Tower. But a new generation of MPs, immortalised here in St. Stephen's Hall, took up his call for liberty. Relations between king and parliament collapsed. In 1642, Charles fled London and the Civil War began. By fleeing...
Hold on. I think it's only appropriate that I show my British knowledge by naming these statues.
John Eliot was thrown into the Tower. But a new generation of MPs...
That is Ned Hurtleburger, famous for the Battle of St. Ives, as we all remember that battle. Am I right?
Immortalised here in St. Stephen's Hall, took up his call for liberty.
Oh, they tried to sneak one past me.
MPs, immortalised here in St. Stephen's Hall, took up his...
Okay, now that's Sir Lloyd Harebarker. Yep. Oddly enough, inventor of waffle fries. I know. I know my history.
Call for liberty.
This is a tough one. I think this was nasal hash browns. Oddly, allergic to potatoes.
Relations between king and parliament collapsed.
Now, okay. I believe this was Jeff Ted Daniels IV. Best part, there was no third.
In 1642, Charles fled London and the Civil War.
I think that's Hank. He was specifically named Hank from the brother of Breaking Bad.
Began.
I know my British history. What?
By fleeing the capital, Charles lost control both of the navy and of the new burgeoning maritime economy that it supported. It made his defeat inevitable, and in 1649, on the orders of England's new republic, he was executed. Parliament acted quickly.
All right. Okay. They didn't mess around, did they? Okay.
To secure control over the navy, putting men of proven loyalty in charge. They were known as the generals at sea. One of them was Robert Blake, West Country MP, hero of the Civil War, and a radical Protestant to boot.
Check 5000, check complete, carry on, SOCs.
HMS Duke, ha! Carry on.
Blake had never fought at sea. Not a brilliant start for a man charged with protecting England's coasts against a multitude of foes. But Blake understood warfare and men, and he knew that
So he'd never fought at sea, but he understood warfare. So I'm guessing he graduated from like a naval academy or... And I'm not even... Look, Revolutionary War, we had Nathaniel Greene and Henry Knox, who were... Henry Knox was a... oh, now I'm mixing them up. Was it Nathaniel Greene or Henry Knox that they had a bookstore, and they ended up gaining all their knowledge about battles. Oh, I'm tired. But they gained all their knowledge by just reading books. Not saying that this guy couldn't have done that. I mean, it worked for him. Hell, I didn't know anything from history class in school. I got all my stuff from reading, because I actually found that I had interest in it. So you can learn a lot by just reading if you're doing it, if it's a passion. So that's simply possible. I'm not going to discredit that at all. But to have never been in battle, that seems like a big risk to me. But if he shows the ability on paper, what would you do in this situation? Oh, we would do this and, go about here and, wave and throw socks. And they're just like, that's brilliant. Yeah, the old throw socks at him and wave and then scoot around from behind. Everyone knows that tactic. It's not new. But I guess you can look at somebody like that and say, okay, look, they seem to have the mental ability to process what should be done. Put them in the battlefield. Because, Mike Tyson said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's very true. Everyone has a great strategy until, a couple of your ships get hit with cannon and people scatter, people die. You're on a battlefield, musket rounds start firing. Everyone has that confidence until...
chaos and indiscipline were as dangerous at sea as they were on land. command problems that had dogged the English expedition to Cadiz still remained. In one of his first battles, he was appalled to see his captain disobey his orders and flee. He knew he had to find a way to assert his control. His solution was to produce the Navy's first ever set of rules and regulations, the Laws of War and Ordinances of the Sea, in 1652. For the first time, it gave English commanders a fighting chance of issuing orders that would be obeyed.
And if you can communicate that book, his rules, his laws of the Navy, you put it in a book, you spread it out, everyone comes together, they all, like all the head people, they all read it and they all agree this is what we're going to do. Yeah, you can start to get a uniform procedure on how things are done. Makes sense. I'm hoping no drinking is in there.
Port 15.
It was a list of 39 offences, from stealing to spying, from cowardice to sleeping on duty. Most were punishable by death. Blake.
So I almost said, damn, and I was thinking that's excessive. I'm gonna go against that and say that's what you need. It's excessive now, looking back on it. But when you're just starting it and you have sailors that are just going to run off and get drunk and screw up a mission, you need hardcore rules right off the bat. Show them you can be killed. If these are the rules and you do that, like you run off and get drunk, you're dead. You might as well not even come back, because if you do, you're dead. We're going to hunt you down too, because we want to kill you anyways. So you're going to be dead regardless. Put some rules in place to scare the living crap out of people. And then after years, maybe decades of having people become professional, you could probably start to tinker and pull back a little bit, because now everybody's fallen in line. Everybody knows the procedure. But then again, you could also, if you pull back, you risk that people will take it. You give an inch, they'll take a mile. You pull back a little bit, people are going to test those waters and see, well, if they pull back a little bit, maybe we can push them back a little bit more. So maybe we should kill some people. I'm sorry. I'm so tired.
Even sacked his own brother for discipline offences.
It tells people you're not around. He didn't kill his brother, though. Not yet.
The Laws of War offered a blueprint for structure and discipline at sea that would later be applied through all areas of government. Blake was just what the Navy needed, a tough outsider. He could see that over the previous 50 years, the Navy had vacillated wildly between great successes like the Armada and total failures like Cadiz, but there was no reliability. Under charismatic leadership of men like Drake, the English could be great successes, but otherwise denied that leadership, failure was often the result. Blake imposed order and discipline. He ensured that no matter who was in charge, the Navy would be effective. Blake left behind a Navy that was larger and more disciplined than the country had ever known before. The powerful fleet had protected the young republic from its foreign enemies, but it could not fill the vacuum created when Cromwell, the English dictator, died. A new era was coming. On May the 26th, 1660, one of the Navy's grandest ships, the Royal Charles, came within sight of England.
Was that Oliver Cromwell? Is that who they were talking about? I swore Cromwell was I don't know anything. So this isn't going to be a shock. I swear Cromwell was way earlier than that. But to find out that I'd be incorrect, well, it certainly wouldn't be the first time in the last 25 minutes.
On board was a man making his triumphant return home after years in exile. It was Charles, son of the murdered king, soon to be crowned King Charles II. The journey was the result of weeks of plotting between senior naval officers and exiled royalists to bring back the monarchy. The new king was eager to lay claim to England's potent navy. He gave gold to the sailors and rebranded the fleet. It was now the Royal Navy. Disembarking with the royal party was the younger cousin.
Yeah, sorry. That's a good stop right there. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there. There's a good little cut there, and I thought I should hit that button. And then I just kept watching it play. Okay, so this is part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize. I talked a lot. What did I extend this video out to be? I'm sorry. 36 minutes. 19-minute video, 36 minutes. Yeah, I talked a lot. Okay, well, this is part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with part 3. I've got to get some stuff done real fast. But then I'll be back to finish it. Hey, shut your face. Until then, have a good day. Have a good night.